But I grew up in California just paying attention to middle-class parents that taught me that this is how life is supposed to be. And what I thought was that you're supposed to work for somebody, and that was the key to a happy retirement. This one individual, which is your employer, will take care of you for the rest of your retirement. So my mom was working starting at the age of 17. She's now 56, and she worked for a company back then that was called Pat Bell, and we know that company today as AT&T. So she was like the OG SBCglobal.net. That was her. And then my dad, since the age of 20, he started working. He's now 63, and that was for the state of California. So one thing you notice as you get older, you pay attention to more things. So I always remember this notion in my household that if I had to ask for money, it was always a stressful conversation, right? There's arguments and fights. Because the longer my parents worked for the set jobs, the less I felt they had in money. And I didn't understand that. And they said, well, in order to not end up like this, in order to be financially free, you need this piece of paper called a college degree. So that's what I was taught growing up. I said, okay, I can do that. And I said, well, how do I get that? Because I know you can't afford it, and I don't like student loan debt. They said, if you play sports, a college will pay for you to go to school. So that's what I did all my youth. I just played sports. And I got the attention of the University of Pittsburgh, and I was really good at softball. And they said, hey, I'll pay for 4 years of school, room, board, and everything in between. 100% paid for if you can play softball at our school. Guess what I said? I had no choice, right? My parents threatened me, okay? But think about it this way. Most people that are 17 years of age, are they able to make big decisions like that knowing it's going to be the best for them? Because you're asking me to leave an environment I've known for 17 years to go to the other side of the country. Now, I was really young and didn't understand how good of an opportunity that was. Thank goodness I had parents that did. So I ended up going, and my degree was in finance, just like Lyndon described it, but only because I wanted to learn about money. Don't you ever get frustrated just not knowing how this thing works? Or feel like you're only limited with what's available? So I thought, if I go to a 4-year degree and I learn this stuff, I'll be ahead. And then what do you think most people learn after a college degree is done and complete? What did I just do? What did I just spend my money on? After 4 years, having a finance degree, I still felt like I didn't understand how money worked. And then what's the next step after you get a degree? You get a what? A good job. You get a good job, right?
Right.
So I started working for a Fortune 100 company, and after about 10 years, I was making $160,000 a year. But guess what? You don't own that 160, do you? Because what gets taken out first? Taxes, right? We love taxes. So then I said, here I am doing everything that I was taught. I went to school, I got a really good degree, and now I'm working for a Fortune 100 company. But yet I still feel in a financial pinch just like my parents. So what's going on here? There needs to be a solution to this. So I remember going down to the cafeteria, my CEO was there, and he said, Sheena, let's talk. And I said, I'm going to take this opportunity to ask him a question. Think about this. He was the first person in my entire life that actually made money that I was talking to. I don't talk to wealthy people growing up. I come from middle class. So I said, tell me how you live versus me. Tell me the difference. And what he told me led to me quitting, so I know it was a good thing. But I'll see if you guys see kind of the dynamic. He said, Sheena, in life, you can make one of 3 incomes, okay? You can make this thing called ordinary income, right? You can make portfolio income, or you can make passive income. If I were to ask you guys, out of all 3 of those, which is taxed the most, what would you guess? Which one of them? I make ordinary income. Bingo. Because what do you tax at? Ordinary income, right? So you're looking at 40 to 45% of what you make in this category goes to what? Taxes. So here I make a 6-figure income that I think is a big deal, but I don't own it because what gets taken out first? Taxes. And then what am I left with? $60,000. You heard that term gross income before? Because doesn't it make you feel gross by you see what you got? Right? It's like, what I just do? All that work and what happened? That's how I started to feel. I was grossed out by what I was noticing. That the more money I made, the more of it went to what? Taxes. So I said, whose lifestyle am I funding? Mine or the government, right? I couldn't figure that out. So I said, well, what kind of money do you make? And I found out at that point he doesn't make this kind of money. Meaning what? I found out for the first time in my life, I'm only taught to make that kind of money. Other people are taught to make this and this kind of money. So he said, Sheena, when I take that position, I ask for shares of the company. You heard of company shares, right? Let's just say these shares are $10. He says, give me $1 million. He takes the job, okay? He takes the job and he goes back to employees. We're talking about C-level, executive, management, down to salespeople. and they're given quotas and metrics, right? So me, when I worked for my company, I had a quota. I had to meet that quota. Because when I meet that quota, what happens to the value of the company? It goes up.
Right.
So the value of the company goes up, what happens to the price of the shares of the company? They go up as well.
Right.
So by the end of the year, these share prices go up to 16. It's a $6 difference, but how much does he have? $1 million. So he just made how much? $6 million, right? Now, this is not considered ordinary income. This is considered what? Portfolio. And there's a cap on how much taxes you pay. Can you imagine that? Meaning you make more and more and more and more, but the taxes have to stay the same.
Yeah.
It caps out at 20%. So in this environment, what? Here I make less, I'm taxed more, right? And here I make more and I'm taxed less. What would you prefer? Pretty simple, right?
Right.
So I said, how can I get this? How can I get to this way? He said, Sheena, I want to tell you right now, there's no possible way to get there as an employee. You have to be a CEO of something. And do you think the CEO of this Fortune 100 wanted me to take his job? Sure doesn't. You see, even he knew. Even he knew. So I turned back to my parents, and this is where a lot of kids in today's reality, they'll go back to their family and say, I want to try something different, right?
True.
It's a true story. And I said, listen, I want to try something different, not because just to give it a try, but because I have to. Why is that? Because jobs aren't secure like they used to be. You feel that nowadays, right? And then the question is, how does this come about? Where did this job insecurity come from? This one word called technology. I'll give you an example. Where do you guys go to in terms of a store? To buy groceries, back to school supplies, kids' clothes, decorate your bathroom, your bedroom. What store can you go to for all of those things? Walmart, right? Now, what if I told you Walmart's not number one right now? Who's number one?
Costco, Sam's,
Bigger. This thing starts with an A. Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're guilty. We bought it, right? We do. Because now think about it this way. What did that simple thing called technology? Because Amazon, you just pick up your phone, right? Press some buttons and it shows up at your door. You don't really need a store.
Right.
So you go to Walmart, look at the jobs that are affected. I don't need a checkout counter because I got a what? Self-checkout. Right? And then the trucks that drive the goods to the store, we don't need them anymore. Because they just deliver right to where? The house. So you're telling me technology literally eliminated all those jobs? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Second example, where do you rent videos from? Think about it. Who'd you used to?
Blockbuster.
Oh, right. Block, right? Every Friday you gotta get there early before the new releases get taken, right? But now who do we rent videos from? Who's number one? Netflix.
Yeah.
So what happened to all those blockbusters? Closed down. They're all gone. Okay, third example, because we have a kid here, so it's perfect. I don't want to grow up because I'm a Toys R Us kids. What happened to Toys R Us? Gone, because what do kids play with?
iPads.
Right? Kids get itchy butt, which I say, right? Here's my phone.
Right.
Right? Because they download their toys, they don't play with them. Make sense? That's technology. That's why stores are going out of business. Where do you shop for clothes? Online versus what? In the store. So I told my parents, listen, my job right now is not secure. So I need to go find an industry where I have job security. And that's why I chose to stick to financial services. Now, in financial services, I say that word, and most people, there's a stereotype around it. Why? Because it's complicated, something I don't understand, it's too much. But in the world of finances, I've realized that middle class and wealthy have two different definitions of what financial freedom is. And I'll explain this. So if I give you guys each $10,000, right? My mom knows this because I did this with her too. I give you $10,000, where would you go put it right now? Bingo. Now why would you put it in the bank?
Safety.
Safe. So you're looking for safety, like the safety of a bank. Where do other people put money?
In the piggy bank.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Keep putting it there. Think about it. Do you guys work?
Right, your 401k.
Bingo. Bingo. So I'll put stock market because that's what it is.
Right.
Right? Why do people put money in a 401k?
Make the world wrong.
Right? So it's clear, it's really clear to say that people don't go to the stock market for safety, right?
Right.
That's not what they do it for, right? So they do it for the growth. Now my next big question to you is, where is that coming from? So we're taught this stuff, right? Put it here. Why? Because of this. Why? Because of that. We're taught based off what we've been hearing since we were born. Around what? Millionaires? Maybe not, right? Maybe just middle class. So that's a reflection of our investing experience, right? The same thing with me. And it goes like this. I'll give you a good example. Did you guys watch sports growing up at all? Or around it at all? What sports? Just give me a couple. Okay, we use football. Football is an example. What commercials play during football? Doritos is next to me, right? So Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. What about McDonald's versus Burger King? Beer, right? Car loans, car leases, right?
Yeah, a lot of the car stuff.
Okay, so then look what happens. From birth up until now, at least once, have you ever eaten at McDonald's or Burger King? Ever had a car loan or a car lease? Ever drinking a Coca-Cola or Pepsi product? Drank an alcoholic beverage? Had some bag of chips? So what does that tell you all that programming has done to you? It's worked. It's worked, right? So we're taught, if you add all that money that you've been spending all those years on that stuff, we are taught to spend money on things that give us no value in return other than what? High cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, alcohol problems, and bad debt, right? Okay, now guess a sport that very wealthy people like to watch. Just guess one. Soccer, what else? Golf. Oh, yeah, right, it's hard to watch. Very hard, right? It's boring. It's very boring. But if I look at golf, what is the one demographic that I notice watches golf? What color?
They're white.
Bingo. Male or female? Male. And then growing up in my household, I've always triggered that this side of the family makes more money than this side of the family. Does this make sense? Because I'm black and white. So I'm getting this growing up, and we all get this growing up. That's why when I ask the question, what is the sport wealthy people like to watch? People will say golf or tennis. Now, I watch golf. Let's just say you're watching golf. What kind of commercials do you think play during golf? Ooh, right? I don't even watch it, right? So this is what plays. Insurance companies, investment companies, high-end luxury cars, Rolex watches. Different, isn't it? Different than Coca-Cola versus Pepsi now, isn't it?
Right, they're catering to people that watch.
Bingo. So they're catering towards wealth. Wealth is an attachment. So is it fair to say that if I'm watching basketball, football, or baseball growing up, I might have a different investing habits than someone watching golf growing up? Is that fair to say? Okay. So when I go over this, I want you to see that this is not about this is too good to be true or how come I didn't know. It's always been here, but you were never exposed to it. Make sense? So there's 4 big industries anybody could put money into, okay? The first one is called real estate, okay? Banks, stock market, and the last one. That's it. So if you put money in real estate, what are you buying? Commercial, industrial, residential property. You put money in a bank, it's always going to be a savings account, right? If I go in the stock market, what do I have here? You heard of 401k? 403b? 457, this thing called a pension, thing called an IRA, money market account, mutual fund.
Right.
You see the pattern? Like, oh my goodness, I know those names, right? Because you've been taught to do what? Gravitate towards them.
Right.
Now the question is, do they really give you what you're looking for? That's my biggest question for today, okay? And if they're not, what's your backup plan? So you should look for safety, that's a given. You definitely should look for growth, because cost of living goes up, you need your money to grow. But you also need to look for liquidity. What does that mean? If I put my money here, I can touch it when I need it. That's fair to say, right? And then of course, I want to know, out of all that, what do I get to keep? Right? Because in taxing, you could be taxed now, taxed later, or tax-free. What would you prefer? Given, right?
Right.
Okay, let's just say that's not an option. What do you want more, tax now or tax later?
Tax later.
Tax later? Anybody else?
I'd rather have my tax now.
Yeah. So there's always a debate either way.
Take it now.
Take it now, forever hold your peace. Take it now, forever hold your peace. Because think about it this way. When you start working, say you're in your 20s, right? Do you make the most amount of money in your career or the least amount of money? You just started working. So what does that mean for your taxes? At the least.
Yeah.
So taxing as you go is like taxing at the discount. And I don't have to worry about it later. Now if you wait till later, what does taxes do over time? Go up. So essentially more of what you're making and putting away is going to really go to taxes versus staying with you.
Right.
Do we know what taxes will be like in the future? Could the president, plus whoever that is, change those things?
Oh, yeah.
just like the recent one did, right?
Right.
And he's a special person, okay? So let's go back to this. You guys answer this for me, okay? Because you're gonna see the pattern, and hopefully you'll learn what's going on and maybe be able to like make some adjustments, okay? So let's just say I'd say real estate's my retirement, okay? Okay, fair enough. I go buy a house today for $100,000. The next day, I need money. Can I borrow from the house on the second day after I bought it yesterday? No. When can you borrow from the house? She's really confused. She's like, no, she doesn't. You have to wait for what to build up?
Yeah, I can.
Equity. And that only takes a couple of days, right? Weeks? Months?
Years.
Bingo. So therefore, I have an asset I have no liquid accessibility to. Until when? Equity grows. But could you also lose? Can the value of the home that you pay for go down?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, there's no guarantee of safety.
No.
So I have a 15, 20, 25, 30-year mortgage, and what happens to the value of the home over time? It goes up in what? It does. I've never heard it stay up, right? So you're thinking if this is what I'm banking on for retirement, I need it to stay up when I need it. My question is, what's going to happen if it's down? What's the backup plan? Right? Which is exactly what middle class is just not equipped with. I just don't have that backup plan. Not to say these are wrong, you just have to have a backup plan knowing that this is going to happen. Okay? But at least I have a write-off. So how many plus signs do you see? One. Okay. So let's do the same concept for a savings account. You guys know the pattern now? I put my money in a savings account today. Can I take from it right away?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. You can take from the same day if you wanted. Is it safe sitting in a bank?
Yes.
Most banks are FDIC, right?
Yeah.
They're federally insured. What does the growth look like? Amazing, right?
No.
No. So barely a percent, and that's just being nice. Okay? Now, was there a time that a savings account was 6% or higher? Yes, it was. That's why when my grandparents say, get a CD, right? Put it in a savings account. I'm like, Grandma, Grandpa, that was good for you then, but it ain't good for me now. It ain't gonna work for me. And therefore, there's no taxes on something that doesn't grow. But how many plus signs do you see? 2. Okay. Maybe this will give us 3. We'll see. Is everyone familiar with the 401k? Can we use that example? Okay. You put money in a 401k. You start working, you start saving in a 401k. When can you touch the money? I'm so curious to see what you guys say.
When can you pull your money out? I mean, I thought you
Not
could put
every
it.
year?
Now, look.
Oh, is it
No.
5 years?
No.
No. I thought you can pull it out, but you have to pay a penalty.
Remember, that's not liquidity, right? Liquidity, no rules, no restrictions, like a savings account.
That's
I gotta pay it back, right? You take it out, it goes right back in, right?
Right.
Right.
I can take it out, I don't have to pay it back, right? That's a savings account.
Right.
This one, why do they make it so you have to pay it back? Because they never wanted you to touch it in the first place,
Oh, definitely.
right?
Right.
So there is an actual age at which you can touch a 401k.
Oh, yeah.
What is that age?
62.
55.
55,
Oh,
62?
55. No. 60. 55. 55.
I was the same way. I was the same way. And you know when I figured out when I can actually touch it? When I actually needed it.
Oh, right.
What you mean I can't touch it till then? So the age here is 59 and a half.
It sure is. You're
59
absolutely
and a half.
right.
Now why they do the half?
Because I
don't
just
know,
talked
right?
about it. That's why I remember it.
There you
That's
go.
why I'm like, 55. That
It's
would-
somewhere.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. Guess how many people start these retirement accounts that have no clue when they can touch it? Just guess out of 100%. Guess how many people?
I'm sure 90% probably.
So then it goes back to what? Well, why are you doing this, right?
Right.
And it comes from what? Oh, basketball, football, baseball. I've been trained
Right.
to put my money here.
Exactly.
And wait a minute, the likelihood of me needing money before 59 and a half, let me ask you, is that high? Yes! So when you don't have access to money, what do you end up doing to get the money?
Right.
Bingo, even if you have to borrow from yourself.
Right.
So what do you end up paying back more? A loan versus yourself.
Right.
Right.
Because you're not paying back your retirement, you're paying back a loan.
Right.
Okay, so now I know this, okay? Well, it's stuck here. I have no options other than strict penalties if I do. Then can it lose money while it's sitting here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Where, yep,
Right.
just did, right? So then there's no guaranteed safety. So like you said, what does the growth look like over time? Up in what? Up and down. 1990, 1999, Y2K, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
2008, 9/11, just last week.
Right.
Like, so you're saying what? By the time I can get access to this, I need it to be where? Up.
Right.
But my question is, what happens if it's what? Down.
Right.
Look what happened in 2008. A 401k turned into a 201k for most people.
Oh, definitely.
No.
Right? So if they can't retire now because of it, they stay working. If they stay working, what happens to the people that just graduated college? They can't find a what? A job.
Right.
And then who tells them to do what? Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about a job. Just go back to where? School.
Right.
Fast forward to today. What's the biggest debt issue today?
School loans.
Student loans,
Right.
right? Can you file bankruptcy on student loans?
No.
So here we go again. Paying back debt more than what? You're paying yourself. So let me ask the bigger question. Remember when real estate, that market crashed in 2008? Who was the entity that gave out the loans to people they knew could not pay these back? There we go, and that's a what? The bank. Who's still getting the payments? The bank. That's right. But who's suffering? The homeowners. Lost their home, credit score went down, right? They can't get anything anymore. So let me ask the other question. Student loans, who's giving that out right now? What entity? Who's still getting their payments?
The bank.
Banks. And who's having a hard time finding a job? Students. Crazy, isn't it?
It is.
Someone told me this one saying, just because every dog is barking up this tree does not mean it's the right tree, right?
Right.
So I told myself when I graduated after a 4-year free schooling, I got used to that, right? So the only time I was gonna go back to school was when I could pay for it. Because I knew I didn't want the debt. Because it's just logically, how am I gonna pay that back with no guaranteed job in return? So I make it through this obstacle, but wait a minute, I get, let's just say I end up with 200,000. But I don't own that 200,000, do I? Because what has to get taken out first? Because all of that is taxed later. And I have no idea what that looks like. So essentially, I'm depending on this to make sure I'm funding myself for retirement, but I really don't know what it's gonna look like until when? The very end. How unpredictable and scary is that, right? So this doesn't give me liquidity, it doesn't give me safety, it doesn't give me growth, and it doesn't give me a tax advantage. It gives me a tax unknown. So therefore, it's not that it's wrong, it's just what? The most risky, unpredictable, right? So then the obvious is what? Well, isn't there somebody that's responsible with money that I can put it somewhere and not have to worry about it? And there is. How come most middle class don't know about it? Why? We didn't watch golf. That's it. So if I go back to this mystery industry, I'll give you a hint. Longest standing industry, has always been around and never goes down. The most responsible with money. I'll give you a hint. These industries rely on that one. You know how you always have a responsible child, right? That always takes away the irresponsible children, right? So real estate says before you can take ownership of a home, you have to have homeowners what?
Insurance.
So before I let you come here and own this, I want a backup plan. Like look at California. All the houses what? Burned down.
Right.
Guess who's gonna come in and bail them out? Insurance.
Right.
Okay, a bank is what? FDIC what?
Insurance.
So they have a backup plan when things are bad. That's why when they came down, they bounced right back up. When they went down, they bounced right back up. And guess what this industry has? Insurance on them. So before I can give you a 401k, I have to have insurance on a license to do it as a backup plan. Kind of interesting, isn't it? So then guess what industry that is? Life insurance. Now, what's most definition of life insurance? What is it used for?
For death, burial.
It's so morbid, right? Just death, right? It's sad. It's depressing. Well, what do they call it? Life.
Life. Right. Right.
So think about it this way. Is it important to have death benefit? If someone's depending on you financially and you go away, is that going to affect somebody else? Like GoFundMe was created not because it's life insurance, because it's a resemblance of what? It should tell you how important it is to plan for this.
Right.
Definitely.
Like look about like death. Is it like 100% you're gonna die? Or is it like 50-50? 60-40? 75-25? No, it's 100% you're gonna die, right? So if you know this is going to happen, is it important to plan for it? Yes, because if you don't, who suffers? Whoever you left behind.
Right.
And then I get the other argument.